kind of see this one coming. I did not have a great feeling when I saw that the Columbus Blue Jackets lost 6-0 and allowing 62 shots the previous night playing the Rangers as they got destroyed by the Calgary Flames. And this was a game in which, in a lot of ways, the Rangers, for many reasons, should have won. And even within the game itself, it's not as if Columbus really dominated the Rangers, but the Rangers made a lot of mistakes. And this was the first game the Rangers lost this season in regulation against a bottom half of the league team. So the Rangers have done a very good job of winning the games that they should, winning the games against lesser competition. And it's not as if the Rangers have been playing, they've been finding ways to win, but it's not like they've been playing really well, I'd say, lately. But in this one, going up 2-0 was almost fool's gold. I had a sinking suspicion when they went up 2-0. I'm like, especially with Alex Georgiev in net, which was the right thing to do. If we're not going to start Shesterkin back-to-back, and I'm fine with that. That's all right. Starting Georgiev, I don't have any problem with that. Shesterkin will get the start on Henrik Lundqvist night at home against the Minnesota Wild. And Georgiev, this isn't his fault, but he wasn't good enough. Definitely wasn't good enough. It's not like he made a ton of saves. The goals he gave up, they weren't necessarily terrible. We'll talk about, them, and there's probably maybe one or two he'd like to have back. But, the Rangers outshot the Blue Jackets 36-19. That's also misleading. The Rangers outshot the Blue Jackets 20-3 in the third period. And that's what happens. The Rangers, they fall behind and they get desperate and they finally get going. Adam Fox also gets injured in the third period. So Gallant, they said it's an upper body injury. If anything, it looked like it was lower, but Gallant said upper. So we'll see. He didn't seem too concerned, but I guess I would have my doubts that he would play, this next game against Minnesota, but maybe with it being Lundqvist night, maybe somehow if it is something that truly is minor, maybe he would want to push through it, but there really is no rush to get him back there. But not a great night for the Rangers in many ways. There weren't really many players that played well. Most did not. But one of the players that did play well, in my opinion, and sure, there may have been some mistakes along the way, was Artemi Panarin. And Panarin, the former Blue Jacket, got the scoring going right away as Panarin scores his 12th of the season at 129, scoring past Korpisalo. Merzlikins played the night before against Calgary and actually made 56 saves on 62 shots. Merzlikins has been the starter. Korpisalo's been the backup. And Korpisalo got off to a really rough start in this one, but then he got going. But the Rangers take a 1-0 lead with the Panarin goal. Fox gets his 40th assist as well on that. And then soon thereafter, Barclay Goodrow scores his 9th goal of the season. Again, he is definitely producing, not just the little things, but also points, goals, assists as well. And Goodrow had a lot of chances in this one. And look, when you're on the same line as Artemi Panarin, you're going to get opportunities. And he had a lot of them tonight. He would score on this one with an assist by Braden Schneider. It went off of Goodrow's skate. Clean goal. It wasn't. It was one of those things where I wasn't sure if it was deflecting off his stick. It was not a close-in play, but it just kind of Goodrow went hard to the net. Schneider passed in his direction, and Goodrow gets the goal. So that's Schneider's first NHL assist, and it actually wouldn't be his last on the night. Goodrow gets that goal. Schneider and Panarin, who made a great pass to Schneider. So right away, Panarin gets 2 points against his former team, and he wouldn't be done either. But at that moment, I just didn't feel good about it. Now, look, if the Rangers made it 3-0, that's a different story. But right away, Columbus comes back about a minute later, and Gus Nyquist scores. And that, honestly, to me, that looked like it was a kick. I know it wasn't a distinct kicking motion, but come on. That one, to me, I thought that could have been overturned. It wasn't a challengeable play, but they looked at it, and it stood. And that was unfortunate. I didn't love that call. So it makes it 2-1. And then it would be a penalty by Goodrow, tripping. So that's back-to-back games where Goodrow has taken penalties. You don't want to do that. I've praised them, but you can't do that. And what happens? It is a power play goal by the Columbus Blue Jackets, Boone Jenner. So that's 2-2 just like that immediately from 2-0 to 2-2 within the same span, basically. So 7:28 into the first, you got 4 goals already in this game. So that wasn't great. And later in the period, Ryan Lindgren, I thought Ryan Lindgren, it was a rough game for him. Takes a hooking penalty. Rangers would kill that off. But Lindgren, I thought Keandre Miller wasn't great. That left side of the defense, it does leave a lot to be desired. Look, Lindgren and Miller, they do what they do. They are young, Miller being younger, but Lindgren, certainly Lindgren, he's a good compliment to Adam Fox. But it was a rough night for them. So we head to the second period. And in the second, Columbus was the better team. 100% the better team. And it would be a goal where Sean Corrali was just left all alone in front. And the former Bruin scores at 6:18 of the second. That's a play where I don't know what Keandre Miller was doing. He was kind of in no man's land. I have no idea what he was thinking. And it was just the forwards, it was like a line change. It was a bad crew of forwards, like defensively. It was like Reeves, Lafreniere, and I can't recall who the other forward was at the time, but it was not a good combination. It might have been Morgan Barron. Let me think about that. Yes, that would make sense. That would make sense. Yeah, Morgan Barron. And Morgan Barron, let's be honest, while I've liked him, he's not a must guy to be in the lineup. Like when Hedl comes back, Barron's going to be the next guy out. And in some ways you could make arguments for different players, right? Like what does Dryden Hunt necessarily bring to the table, for example? Some may say the same about Greg McKegg, but I think Barron, he's not doing well enough. So that makes it 3-2 Columbus. And that was a goal where Corral was left all in front. So I can't blame Georgiev, but it was weird positioning. Like he kind of, I don't even know what he did in that moment, but I can't destroy him, but it was strange. Then Boone Jenner scores again to make it 4-2 at 12:27 of the second. This is a play where the Rangers turned it over a lot. Adam Fox with a really bad turnover behind the net. I don't know what he was thinking. And Strome, it was strange. Strome almost, it's like he was shooting it towards Georgiev. I mean, obviously that wasn't his intent, but it didn't get there because I think it hit a Columbus player and it shoots over to Jenner, and Georgiev was not hugging the post, and Jenner scores. So bad all around. Fox, Strome, Georgiev, bad. Really bad. So 4-2 at that point, and that's when it gets tricky. It's a 2-goal game. That's when it's difficult. So we go into the third down 4-2. And Dryden Hunt does draw a holding penalty. So credit for that. And the Rangers do score. At this point, Fox had left the game. So Trouba was took a spot, but then Schneider did. Braden Schneider took that spot later in that power play, and it was a Mika Zibanejad goal, his 16th of the season. His goals are just continuing to increase. And Panarin with the assist, his third point of the game, and Braden Schneider on the power play. So Braden Schneider, one of the bright spots in this game, absolutely. I say Panarin, Schneider, Goodrow. There wasn't much else. Lafreniere did get moved up to the line with Kreider and Zibanejad, and they moved Gauthier off that line. But let's talk about them as I say that. So the Rangers draw another power play. Kevin Rooney, who I thought Kevin Rooney had a decent game. He actually drew 2. He drew another power play later on when it was out of reach. But Rooney is interfered with. And the second power play unit's on, and Lafreniere makes a beautiful pass to Gauthier, and he's just flat out robbed by Korpisalo. It's a combination of Gauthier just really not being a goal scorer and an unbelievable save by Korpisalo. It's like in that moment, it's like the Rangers had a lot of posts. It just wasn't gonna be their night. You could just feel like it wasn't, even though they've come back so many times, and they almost did in this one. That wasn't good. Here's where I have a problem. So the Rangers with 2:30 left pull the goalie. It's just too soon. We see it too many times where you lose possession and the team just shoots it down and scores. I don't like taking them out that soon. Down 1. Down 2, completely different. That's completely fine. But down by 1, let's wait a little bit longer than 2:30. So, maybe the Rangers could have tied it up, but it's a Sean Corrali empty net goal. makes it 5-3, and that's your hockey game. So this was a disappointing one. This was bound to happen. It really was. And I hope that somehow the Rangers can turn around and beat a tough Minnesota team. It's going to be, an interesting night with, the Henrik Lundqvist ceremonies, and it's a later start than normal. Normally it's a 7 o'clock start. This will be an 8 o'clock start. So I don't know what to expect, honestly. Sometimes the Rangers have kind of fallen flat in years past after these sort of ceremonies. So I just don't know what we'll see. I think what you could expect with this poor result against Columbus, it should fire them up more to not let that affect them. And of course, the great equalizer, Igor Shesterkin. Shesterkin, he's going to be a headline, right? Because, it is Lundqvist night. Shesterkin is the goalie that, in effect, took over for Lundqvist. So all eyes will be on him. And, I'm confident in him. I think he's the type of goalie. Maybe I'll be dead wrong, but I think that he will step up in this occasion. I mean, Lundqvist was someone that he looked up to, and that kind of showed him the ropes in their short time together. So I think that'll be interesting to see. But I'm excited. I will be in attendance for this game, and this will be my first game since March of 2020, early March of 2020, when Zibanejad had his 5-0 game against the Capitals. So it'll be really exciting to get that type of perspective watching the game, in person. It'll give me, in some ways, I think I'll get a better sense of things, and in some ways, watching on TV, I think, getting an analysis and sort of seeing it that way can be beneficial as well. But either way, I'm looking forward to it. I hope the Rangers can bounce back in what will be a very exciting night as the Rangers retire Henrik Lundqvist, number 30, and hopefully they can finish it off victorious and do it for Hank in what will be a really good test against the Minnesota Wild.